What's up, y'all? This is Rodney, and I'm back. And Andrew Cohen, sister girl, we need to have a conversation, okay? Someone told me, a little birdie told me that when that mess was happening down um, in Atlanta, when the alleged RP happened involving Kenya and Britt, that there was a code of conduct that had either just been created or had just, I guess, they enforced. It's hard for me to believe, like NBC Universal just starting enforcing a code of conduct or just created a code of conduct. But whatever it was, I want to know, where was this code of conduct when you were messaging your employee? Now, before we get into the mess, I just want to say this. Multiple things can be true at the same time. Um, I'm going to try to tell the truth as I see it. Um, what I'm saying is not the gospel, it's just my little old opinion, okay? All right, let's get into it. I got a lot to say. I have a lot to say, okay? Oh, girl, here we go. I knew this was going to happen. As soon as. Okay, here we go. So, this is according to page6.com. One, I sometimes I sleep late. I go to sleep late. Some of you may not know. I feel. I mean, I guess I suffer from insomnia. I don't know. My schedule is completely off sometimes, and so sometimes I don't go to sleep until like 8 in the morning, and that's even when I need assistance. I have to take some type of sleeping aid, melatonin, Benadryl, something that'll like get me to sleep. And so today I went to sleep around like 8 this morning. I couldn't go to, I was like, I have to take this melatonin. So I took the melatonin around like 7. And I woke up around like 1. I think it was like 1. And I checked my phone. And my friend had texted me. Shout out to my friend. He know who he is. I don't like to say people's names. Um, and I gagged at what I had just saw. Brandi Glanville is coming for Andy Cohen's purse. Okay. Not the little purse, the big purse. Okay. The one that he hold that booger sugar in. That big purse. Okay. Anyway, so this is according to page 6. Brandi Glanville felt Andy Cohen pressured her to get together with Southern Charm star Austin Kroll. I'm just gonna call him Austin. Y'all know I mess up a last name. So Brandi Glanville alleged in a bombshell new interview that Andy Cohen made her feel like a sex worker whom he was pimping out to other Bravo celebrities and crew members, including Austin. I think that Andy wants me to take over the in conquest the people that he couldn't. I mean that he can't because they're straight. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum 51 told the US Sun Wednesday. So I'm like his little sex worker, and I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm a mom of 2. I've been in 2 long-term relationships my entire life. I'm not what he's made me into his head. Glanville provided the outlet with copies of text messages and emails in which she engaged with Cohen 56 in conversation about potential new suitors and ex hookups. I've been dealing with very sexual, explicit texts and emails for over a decade, and none of them were jokes, the reality star who starred on RHOBH from 2011 to 2015 claimed. I had to act like I wasn't bothered by it because if I said, "You're disgusting," you think I would ever work again or F off? No, I would be dead in the water. One of the text exchanges reportedly took place shortly after BravoCon 2022, and Cohen allegedly wrote to Glanville at the time, kind of hoping you and my stage manager hooked up. She replied, "I think he wants you," which prompted the Watch What Happens Live host to burst out laughing. The following day, Cohen allegedly told Glanville, "I really wanted you and Austin to get together. He had eyes on you." The famously single star did not dismiss the comment at the time and instead acknowledged, he's already DM'd me like 4 times. Shep rose too, but Austin had a girl with him. I'm going to Charleston for sure, and I don't even like blondes. We need more male options. Page Six has reached out to Austin for comment, but did not immediately hear back. The Southern Charm star 37 briefly spoke about his interactions with Glanville at BravoCon 2022 in an episode of his Pillows and Beer podcast, but did not go into much detail. Although the former housewife seemed open to getting to know Austin in the text, she told The Sun that she now views Andy's Cohen's actions as an abuse of power. Your boss should never talk to you that way, Glanville said. We are not friends. We do not hang out outside of work ever, and we were at a work event. She continued, I felt this tremendous amount of pressure to please him, but that was too far. I'm not going to go and sleep with someone. He literally thought I would do it. That's the disgusting part. He really is like pimping me out. I mean, it felt that way. That is a different kind of boss. That is a pimp. I'm not a hooker. You are not my pimp. Girl. A source tells Page Six exclusively, though, that Cohen was not Brandi's boss when the text occurred, as he is also talent on Bravo and has not worked as a network executive in a decade. I have heard, I think because Andy was the girl in charge when the Housewives first started, I have heard that Andy does not have the power that he once had. Not to say that he doesn't have any power. I'm sure that he still has some power. I'm sure his opinion is still valued and taken into consideration. But I don't think he, you know, anyways, he is, however, an executive producer for several of the Housewife shows, but we're told he does not have hiring or firing power. A source says Cohen, along with other EPs, give his opinion on who should be cast for the upcoming seasons, but ultimately the network decides who will star on the shows. He's not her boss, the source reiterates. Reps for Cohen declined Page Six request for comment. Aside from sharing the BravoCon post, Glanville provided at least 2 other examples of when she and Cohen openly discussed sex. After appearing on Watch What Happens Live and telling the host that her ex-husband Eddie was a 9 in bed, she allegedly received an email from Cohen that read, "Get home safe." Eddie was a 9. Glenville told The Sun that she perceived the email to be Andy prying about the size of her ex penis. This isn't like the joke that he was supposedly making. I don't even think it's funny. It's not a joke, and that's just weird. But to follow up and ask more questions, in that moment, I knew I had to put up with it. I knew that this is going to be our relationship. The Traders alum also shared another text exchange in which Cohen purportedly inquired about one of his exes, who was mutual friends with Glanville, said about how he was in bed. Girl, I don't know about his sex life. I don't know about his sex life, she added. Glenville asked, I'm sorry, I don't know about his sex life. I don't want to know about his sex life, she added. Glenville asked of Cohen, does he think he's God? Does he think I'm going to run off and spread my legs because he told me to? Girl, anyways, child. And that's pretty much it, girl. So let me just say this. Let me say this. Okay. I got something for Andy and I got something for Miss Glanville. I got something for Miss Andy and I got something for Miss Glanville. The first thing is this. Even if Andy is not in a position to where he can hire or fire someone, he's still in a position where he could possibly get someone hired or fired. You see what I'm saying? Just because he may not be in that direct position doesn't mean that he doesn't know people in positions or are cool with folk who have that power. He can get in their ear and say, you know, it can look like an abuse of power. I don't know how many text messages Brandi has. I don't know how long these conversations lasted, but it could appear that Brandi could have felt that my boss or someone with some power at the network is pressuring me to do something that I don't want to do. It's kind of like I was talking to a friend, and the example that I was using, because I like to talk about this stuff before I get on here to make sure that I don't sound crazy. Um, it's kind of like if your boss comes to you and says, "Are you going to go on the company trip?" And you say, "No, I'm not going to go." And then they come back and say, "So you're not going to go on the company trip?" And you're like, "No, I'm not going to go." And then they come back and say, "I think you should go on the company trip." And you're like, "No, I don't want to go." And they come back and ask you, "So you're really not going on the company trip?" And then you feel like there's a pressure for you to go. You see what I'm saying? So even though I will say, just listen to me, don't get mad. Based off of the text messages, it could come across as innocent. But being that Andy is Andy Cohen at the network, that's where the lines start to get blurry. And that's where people can say, "You're still her boss. Why are you communicating with your employee like this?" Even if people are saying, at the time, he was talent, at the time, um, um, he doesn't have any hiring and firing people. It still can appear that Andy Cohen, who works for NBC Universal Bravo, you're still out of line for talking to people like this. And we have always said, not we, I have always said that Andy is going to find herself in a pickle because Andy doesn't know when to not cross that line. At the end of the day, I understand that this is not a job like a regular job, right? So I can get how people can hang out and have conversation and do all the carrying on. But girl, that's exactly why Andy's in the situation she's in now. Every time we look up, it's some former employee talking about how you offered them a little, in the restroom. It's somebody talking about how you made a pass at them. It's somebody talking about how you made them uncomfortable. And maybe those conversations wouldn't exist if you probably were like the other folk. See, Andy wants to be the face of the network and he want to hang out with the girlies. You can't do both. It's a reason why sometimes even in real jobs, management, they're not allowed to hang out with their subordinates. It can become a problem. And again, I get that this is Hollywood and this is not like a real job, but Andy's gonna have to learn, even at his big ass age, that girl, some things are out of order. It can become blurry because Andy is someone who at least had some power, and I'm sure again he probably still has a little bit, probably not as much as he used to have. While he may be the talent, at the end of the day, he's still somewhat the boss too. You could still be considered one of the bosses and not have one of the bosses and not have any hiring or firing power. You know what I'm saying? You could be a manager at a store and you could request for a person to be fired, but if HR doesn't want to approve the termination, or if somebody doesn't approve that you've taken the right steps, they can deny the termination. I don't know about every job, but just because you want, I know like at Nordstrom, just because you want somebody to get fired doesn't mean they'll necessarily get fired, even if you are their manager. It has to make sense on why you want to terminate this person. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, Brandi. Can I say something to y'all? Don't get mad at me. Ooh, I'm not trying to get myself canceled. Again, like I said, multiple things can exist at the same time. I stand by everything what I just previously said, and I'm going to stand by what I'm about to say now. Even though the text, when I read the text, I was like, oh, girl, this don't really look like nothing. That's until you start to bring into account that Andy is a man with some power at Bravo Andy is someone's boss. He's their boss. I don't give a damn if they say he has firing power or not. Yes, he is a talent, right? So that's where the abuse of power could come in. And if you are someone in a position of power, there is a chance that someone at the bottom of the totem pole could feel like, well, this is my boss. Let me do what I need to do in order to appease him. You see what I'm saying? So, yes, someone could still feel pressured into doing things that they don't want to do because you are their boss. It don't have to be, oh, girl, you going to do this. It could literally be just like you asking multiple times. It could just be they heard stories of how you are and they feel like, well, based off the stories that I've heard, this could happen to me. So let me just go ahead and say yes. There are multiple reasons, right? But Brandi Glanville is someone who is a hot ass mess. I think that it is so ironic that, girl, you're out here accusing Andy of doing something that Caroline accused you of doing on the Ultimate Girls Trip. Hello, somebody. You're accusing him of being inappropriate and trying to pass you around like you're the village slut, a slut from the 90s. And girl, you got Caroline from RH, New Jersey, talking about how you were out of order and out of line with her. Hello? And that's the reason why the Ultimate Girls Trip is probably more than likely not going to show. Brandi, it can come across that Brandi is a disgruntled employee. You are now out of employment. Well, I'm about to say something that's going to sound so fucked up. Brandi used to be a pretty girl to me. Then she started nipping at her face, and just like a lot of people, they don't know when to stop. Brandi couldn't even, based off of the latest photo that I saw of Brandi a couple of weeks ago, I'm gonna try to find it. Brandi looks a hot ass mess. Face just fucked up. Brandi has destroyed her face. She's not hireable. She has gone after NBC Universal Bravo. She has gone after Andy. I can completely understand why Brandi is now pulling out all the stops in order to make sure she can get whatever money she can get. We wouldn't even be in this situation if Andy knew how to conduct himself in a professional way. Do I believe that Brandi, if Brandi was still employed with Bravo, we wouldn't hear about this? I do believe we wouldn't hear about this because Brandi would be okay. She would be getting a check. I think Brandi is doing this because the money is running low. And if she got to pull out every white woman's stunt, then that's what she's going to do in order to make sure she can survive. I'm not mad at it, but I feel like that's what she's doing. However, again, we wouldn't be in this position if Andy knew how to conduct himself in a professional way. Now you got the girls coming out talking about how you offering them Coca-Cola in the restroom. Now they coming out talking about how you, girl, do all the X, Y, and Z. And how you trying to pimp them out. Girl, if you knew how to separate work from the girlies, then girl, you would be okay. But you don't know how to do that. You want to party with, and this is the thing. Andy wants to party with the girls and then fire the girls. And I know they said that he doesn't have any firing or hiring power, but at one point he did. You see what I'm saying? You can't party with the girls, have a good time, kiki and laugh, and then they turn around and girl, they got a pink slip and a white box come the next season. Somebody gonna be pissed off. So now I just lost my job, bitch. You losing yours too. That's basically where I feel like Brandi is no shade. Nene, I really felt like that's what Nene was doing in a way. She was too back and forth with it. They racist, they this, they that, but girl, you still following Kim. You all at the Women's Expo in Atlanta, holding Kim, walking out with "Count on me through thick and thin, a friend." Girls, literally, I'm not even making this up. Kim and Nene walked out at I think the Atlanta Women's Expo, holding hands to CeCe Winans and Whitney Houston. "Count on me through thick and thin, a friendship that will never end. When you are weak, I will be strong," helping you to carry on. You were okay when you were getting a check and everything was fine and dandy. But now, girl, they basically cutting your episodes. Now here come the lawsuit. That's why I have more respect for a girl like Ebony, who was going through stuff. She didn't wait no 10, 14, 15, 20 years. Ebony was going through experience what she experienced at Bravo, with the girls at Real Housewives of New York. And baby, before the season started, she was in human resources. That's a girl I can believe and get behind. It's hard for me to get behind a girl like Nene who I want to have a conversation with Andy. Maybe we can sit down and talk. I will go back to the show, just for the fans. But girl, you said that was racist. The same people that were racist when you were there, they're still there to this day. Ain't nothing changed. So why would you want to go back to that same environment? But see, what happens is when it's Mad Day, it's Mad Day. You see, I'm linking them together because I feel like it's the same thing with Nene and Loki with Brandi. But also, again, Andy cannot be shocked because you want to kiki and laugh with the girls, hang out with the girls on South Beach like he was with Nene, party with the girls. And then when they get fired, you expect everybody just to kind of like move on with their life. No, the girls got bills to pay. So if I got to pull every stunt and show in order to make sure I got a check coming in, then girl, I'm gonna shake somebody's purse, bitch. And if Andy, I got to shake yours, and bitch, I'm shaking it down. That's exactly what I feel like is happening. I really do feel that way. I feel like Brandy's back is against the wall, and it's a shakedown. And if I was still getting my way at Beverly Hills or with Bravo, I would be okay. But now that's not the case, and I need money, and I have kids. So, girl, here I go. I gotta pull my Karen. Andy was out of line with me. He was out of order. I felt like I was a sex worker. I felt like he was my pimp. He was texting me. I felt like he was trying to pass me off to coworkers. Hello? I can't even be mad at it. Because again, Andy has put himself in this position where it could even go down this way. Every time we look up, Andy's name is in some shit. Andy is not the only executive at that goddamn at Bravo. But Andy is the one who's always in some shit because he's the one who's always hanging out with his employees. And then when it's Mad Day, honey, the girls are coming out. Y'all would do better at trying to make sure that when you want to cut the ties with these girls, girl, it's a smooth, not cricket, okay? It's straight down the middle, girl. But no, y'all cut. This is the line. Andy cut the line down here, and this is all the string that the girl who got fired. This is all the string she has, and this is the string that Andy has. And so now, because her string is this long, she about to come for some of Andy's string. Because bitch, this is gonna be down the middle if we gonna cut ties. I don't want to sound like I'm victim blaming or like I don't believe Brandi, but I mean I just think based off of what I've seen from Brandi, Brandi is a hot ass mess. I'm gonna just go ahead and tell y'all. I told my friend Brandi gives me that type of girl from Girls Gone Wild from the '90s. You remember the move the girls who just be like, "Woo!" She can come out and say all she has is two girlfriends or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, even though these shows are heavily edited, right, and we only get to see a glimpse of these people, but at some point you have to be careful of what you want to put out there. If every time we look up, we're hearing stories about you being a drunk bitch, then people are gonna start believing you're just a drunk bitch. That's just what it is. If you're a girl like Candy, it can't be that picture can't be painted. But if you're a girl, every time we look up, girl, we're hearing about you touching on people inappropriately. Just hearing you're a hot ass mess. Girl, even on Ultimate Girls Trip, the first go around when Brandi was on with Eva and Phaedra, I was like, "Ooh, Brandi is a drunk mess." And I didn't even really watch Beverly Hills like that back in the day. And I got just from those few episodes on Ultimate Girls Trip that Brandi was a hot ass mess. And even if that's not how you are, that's how you allow the network to use you. So now that's the picture that's painted about Brandi. You see what I'm saying? You better be in control of the image that you want to be displayed on television. That's why I never understand the girls. Not to go off into a rant. That's why I never really understand the girls who are rich and really don't need TV. Let them kind of persuade them to do certain things. It's one thing for a bitch to be broke and they be like, "Girl, this is my shot to kind of make it and come out with some stuff and use my platform to get it." I could kind of see that, but you also still have to understand, girl. I have to have a certain line that I'm not gonna go across. Y'all sometimes let these producers use y'all to make the show work, and then when it's time to let y'all go, girl, they've used and abused you, and now you pissed off because now again, I don't know how Brandi is in real life, but based off what we've seen on television, based off what I've seen on Ultimate Girls Trip, based off of things that I've heard, based off the clips that I've seen, girl, Brandi looks like somebody who's just a hot ass walking mess. She just does. And Andy, she's a walking hot ass mess too. The only difference is Andy has the power. Andy has a machine to back him up. Brandi ain't got no money. She ain't got no power. So good luck to Brandi, because girl, not only are you going against Andy, you're also going against Bravo, NBC Universal, and they got a whole lot more money than Whitefish Brandi, whatever her name is. Shout out to Whitefish Andy and shout out to Whitefish Brandi. I'm gone. This was longer than what it needed to be. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.